Okay. All right. So, hi everyone. If you're in the call already, we're just gonna wait until 5 after. That's when we usually start. 5 minutes after. Yes. So just bear with us for a second. Yay! All right. Thanks you guys for joining us. We are just going to wait until 5 after, and then we'll get started at 5 after. So I'm just waiting for some people to join, and then I am doing some social media stuff right now. So we're on social media. Let me see if I can share it to your page, Siwela and Wendy. Um, okay. Siwela. So we'll get started at about 5 after. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll get started about 5 after. We're still just waiting for a few more people to come in. And if you guys have any questions, you can just send me chat right now. Let me see what this is looking like because I think I have my. There we go. I can see everybody now. Um, let's see. I'll just. Suella, are you gonna have video?
No.
Are you gonna have video? You have to have video. What are you talking about? You're not gonna have video?
I need
I'm
a
sure.
haircut.
I'm sure you look fabulous. Let's see. Is that a virtual background or is that your actual house?
It's just the background.
Rachel. Hi, Siwela.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Keeping
Oh my
busy.
God, you still look beautiful. I don't care what you say.
You guys are the ones that look proper. See?
You know what? It's just the lipstick. The lipstick just makes everything better.
Hair done. Tuanni, where did you do your hair?
So there was a girl who came to my house to do my hair. I couldn't take it. I was like trying to do it myself, so I had all these natural looks going on. But like natural hair is so much more work than
It
having like your
is.
hair
It
braided or some
is.
process done to your hair.
Very
It's not.
true.
Yeah.
I'm not like Beyonce. I don't just wake up like that. With the natural hair, it literally, I had to like comb my hair out at night and braid it, and then in the morning, like put product on it and try to shape it and get it the right way. It was just too much work. And my boyfriend was like, "You're spending more time doing your hair than you are sleeping." So, yes. Okay, so we're going to get started at 5 after. It's 12 o'clock now. Well, I haven't heard the counting yet, but it's 12 o'clock. So we usually just wait for more people to come. People are late because it's online. And then I just realized, hold on for a second. Uh-oh, let me see. Hi, Carmen. How are you? Can I unmute you or you don't want to be unmuted?
Hi.
There she is.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for coming back.
How are
Love
you?
it. I'm good. I'm super excited to be in this space today with some lovely ladies.
You do look very nice, I must say. I like that pink on you. What is that
You know,
chemise thing?
thank you. Pink is my color though. Whenever I wear pink, people are always like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." So this is like my favorite pink jacket. Like when I'm not feeling as beautiful, I'll just throw on some pink and it makes the world better. So yes. Hi Monica, welcome. Welcome back. Oh, do I need to unmute you or are you unmute? Oh, there we go. And hi, Aya Bella. Is that how you say your name?
No, it's Ayabulela.
Ayabulela. Ayabulela. Okay, I just forgot
Yes.
the L-E. Okay, so Ayabulela. Does it mean anything?
It means they are grateful.
Nice. Ayabulela.
That's
I'm gonna
cool.
mess it up, but I'm gonna practice it. I promise. I'm like really bad at names.
It's okay. Thank you for trying.
So we get started at about 5 after. I'm just waiting for some more people to join the call. We have some of our regulars who usually join, so hopefully they come back this week. And I think I made a mistake when I sent out the invite. It said June 25th, even though it's for today. So hopefully that doesn't. But either way, we have enough people for a great conversation, and I'm looking forward to. All right, let's see.
Is Rosemary joining us as well? Rosemary?
Yeah, Rosemary is supposed to join us. Let me send her a text message and find out exactly where she is. Um, okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay, there we go. I just sent her a text message, so we are going to get started in about how many more minutes? In about 1 minute, actually, we're going to get started. So, yes, let me stop
Hi,
sharing my.
Tuanni.
Hi, Ain. It's
Good to
good to
see
see
you.
you. I haven't seen you in so long on Zoom. I feel like I missed you. I thought about
I
you this
know.
morning.
Oh my God, this all over the place, all over the place. Just a crazy week, crazy fucked up world week. Yeah. Sorry for my French.
I love it. I love it.
I know, right? But I don't even understand another term that you can say, you can use to describe how the world is right now. Like, it's just the F bomb right now. So I think we should all get a pass for that.
Oh my God, all over the place, all over the place. Just crazy, crazy fucked up.
All right, so it is 5 minutes after, and we are going to get started. Hold on for a second. Let me just remember to start my recording. And we are live on Facebook. We are recording on Zoom. And welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Blacc Masterclass and Study Group. My name is Tuanni Price, and we have some very, very special guests with us today. We are talking about how Black women are transforming the wine industry, how we're making our positive impact, what we're doing, how we're doing it, and I brought some leaders in the industry. I have Wendy Petersen, who is a manager, a leader with the South African Wine Transformation Unit. If I said it wrong, Wendy, you can just correct it when you introduce yourself. And then we also have Siwela. Siwela is a young, under 30 winemaker, wine brand owner. She owns the brand. It's after her name. It's Siwela. Everybody calls her Sweetness. I think the Siwela means sweetness because they're all like, I know sweetness when I start talking about her. And she's super sweet, and she's a super awesome entrepreneur. And I just love these two women, and I'm super excited to chat with you guys. We're supposed to have Rosemary, who owns a brand called Bridge of Hope Wines, and so hopefully she will join soon. But yeah, let's get started. How about, Wendy, we start off with you, introduce yourself, and then talk to us about what exactly the Wine Transformation Unit is.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Wendy Petersen. I basically head up the Wine Industry Transformation Unit. We're situated in Paarl. The Operations Division has been in process since February last year, 2019. Before that, transformation initiatives or projects was handled basically by the other industry business units and bodies. And in 2017, a decision was taken to establish a unit on its own, directly mandated to talk to the needs of Black professionals, Black brands and enterprises, and Black farms and farm workers in the industry. So a dedicated resource was established. Just a little bit about myself. I've been in the wine industry since, I think Carmen mentioned it the other day, since 1993. So I was a young, beautiful woman when I started, and now it's all wrinkles. I've been in the industry for longer than 26 years, and I just felt there's an obligation towards empowerment and transformation. I've also been one of the people that went up the ladder in the industry, and when you get to a certain stage in the industry, your career is really limited, specifically if you're a person of color. And that for me has always been a thing that I fought for in board meetings, in boardrooms. And at a certain stage in my life, in 2016, actually, the 5th of April 2016, I decided, you know what? I must be the change that I want. And I've made a conscious decision to leave my corporate job and decided to move on. And I was very fortunate to be appointed in the transformation unit because I've got a real passion for transformation. And I also ran my own company for just less than a year. So I understand the challenges that these entrepreneurs go through on a daily basis. When I started, I told myself, with 25 years of experience as an entrepreneur, if I can't get it right, how would a person coming into the industry get it right? Because it's really so tough and difficult if you don't know the industry. There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of things that you underlying factors that you need to get used to or need to understand. And coming from corporate, I mean, I've worked for the biggest organizations in this industry. I've worked for KWV, I've worked for Destal, I've worked for DGP. And I thought that I knew it all until I started my own business, and it was an eye-opener for me to see how difficult it really is. So I've dedicated my life towards transformation in the industry and empowerment of our people. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's me. The transformation unit is basically a unit that looks at empowering of Black business and finding opportunities and for Black business entrepreneurs and enterprises and also farms throughout the value chain of the industry. We want to empower people to have their own businesses, to be empowered to play a vital role in this wine economy that we are so proud of. Then on the farm worker side, we do understand the social needs of farm workers. Our farm worker communities are so vital to us that we have to look at the needs, and not the needs that a producer or thinks that the farm worker he has a need for, but a real need that's identified by them, that we solve that problem. Then Black professionals, I'm also one of them that struggled in the industry. We want to create a platform where we nurture leadership in our wine industry, and where those people can rise up and occupy senior positions in the industry. Because we cannot have an industry that's transformed if the decision makers in key roles and the culture of transformation is not at the highest level. So yeah, that's the transformation unit.
Very cool. It's so exciting. I have so many questions, but let's just jump right into it. So you mentioned about the barriers for women or people of color in the wine industry. So when you were working in the corporate environment in the wine industry, can you describe or can you tell us some of those barriers, for example?
Yes, you sit with a very underlying, issues. And sometimes you can't put your finger on it, but when you sit in a boardroom, you know it's there. It's the stuff that very little of us talk about, but when you walk out, you feel less of a human being than when you walked into that boardroom. So it's got to do with the confidence and the confidence to speak out when you're in that boardrooms. It comes with a level of you've educated yourself. You don't need to feel less inferior than another person sitting with you in that same boardroom. It comes with positions. If a position opens and you can move into that position, how do you make sure that you do get that position? And if you don't get that position, what do you need to be mentored on in order to be able to get that position? So it comes with a whole lot of mentorship and key things that I think the industry must really nurture or grow a
Groom.
few leaders in the industry.
Okay, I mean, I think that that's fair, and that actually answers the next question I was going to ask, and then also about like the transformation unit. So, like, you have a mentorship program where you help mentor people who are starting their business, who have started their business, and then you have a mentorship program where you mentor people who are working in a corporate environment as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, as I said, we've started in February last year. So because transformation, there's been a magnitude of needs, and really there's been an overflood of requests. So we've started to look, when I started last year, at let's give focus to the Black-owned brands or enterprises, and let's give focus to the farms. The next
Okay.
level will be to look at professionals in the industry, and then we've also started to looking at farm worker and farm worker communities. So we had to prioritize, but yeah, the professionals is definitely very high on our agenda list.
Okay, so then let's just talk about what you guys are focusing on right now. So you guys are talking about Black-owned brands, right? And so on my website, I have a list of Black-owned brands, like in America and then also in South Africa, and I'm really proud of that. Just because I explain to people the need for it, it's necessary because when you go to the grocery store, when you go to your local wine shop, when you go to the restaurant, you don't see these brands. They don't have the capital to get the marketing or the distribution to have these wines in major retail shops and restaurants and things like that. So it's important for me to have a place where you can highlight them. And whenever I can talk about them, I try to talk about them, right? And not to say that exclusively I drink wines that are made only by Black people or by women. That's not the case at all. It probably would help my budget if that were the case, but it's not the case. But can you talk about some of the brands that you work with and like the support that you provide to these brands?
Now, we're very blessed on a database. We've got 67 Black-owned brands that we've listed. And obviously, because of the POPI Act, we cannot just give out information. But I can say about these brands that we've got on our list is that they've all got their unique story. We've got, when you sell a wine, you sell a story. And I can clearly say that there's no lack of stories when it comes to our brands. They've all got the unique story. So what we try to do is, and also each one of the Black-owned enterprises are at a different level or stage or phase of their development. Not all are in startup, not all are emerging, and not all are developed. So when I started, we've basically clustered the brands into which phase of their development they are. So for the startup businesses, we want to make sure that they've got all the systems and all the documentation in place before they are, so that they can be trade ready before they enter the market. So for the startups, we provide a mentorship service, which includes we look at mentorship to acquire a liquor license. We even assist with a business plan if that needs to be drafted or amended. We also look at some companies don't have funding to even do their financial accounting or financial systems. So we do provide support in order for you to get your financials and your bookkeepings up to track. And then some of the brands, they've got a brand, they've designed it and everything, and now they want to go into market. So we want to protect their brand. So we also do trademark registration for them to ensure that if you go to China, if you go to Africa, if you go to other parts of the world, that at least your trademark are secured. That you don't invest and at the end of the day find that there's a different trademark registered. Then for the emerging brands, we do provide grant funding. And almost 50% of my funding goes to the financial support in the form of grant funding to farms and to brands. There's a 50-50% split between the two. And then we also have a budget allocated for brands to attend shows and events on a yearly basis. And we plan the shows and events that we want to go to each year. We plan it from June to say that what are the key markets that we see the brands move into. And then we allocate a certain proportion of our budget, and we also do decide which companies go. Yeah, so basically those are the three clusters of support that we do provide. Then I've also got different service level agreements in place to provide extra support for the Black-owned farms. And the farms need a different type of model. They also need mentorship, but a different type of mentorship. And they also need grant funding or support by directly feeding into the planting of vineyards, the acquiring of assets, to make sure that where these farm workers trust that the farm workers' needs are catered for in that trust, and that the real beneficiaries get the benefits. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Nice. That was a great explanation. So detailed. When you talk about the farms, are these farms Black-owned or women-owned farms as well, or does it matter if they're Black-owned or women-owned? It's just they have a wine farm and they supply grapes to the winemakers. Can you explain?
There's different, as with the Black-owned brands, there's different models, or there's different make-ups, if I can call it that. On the Black-owned farms, you get 100% Black-owned farms. Then you also get a farm which is 51% Black-owned, which means that there's a portion of white-owned and a portion of Black-owned, but together they are, the Black percentage is higher than 51, and then we assist.
Okay.
There's also farms where the farm workers has been pulled in within a farm worker trust. And those are I almost want to say those are where the TU can really be of assistance, because farm workers, they haven't been that much involved in the business side of things, in the financial side. So it's our responsibility to act in their best interest and to make sure that they do understand what goes into a partnership like that.
I love it. This is so awesome because, like, on my wine tours, when we don't visit a winery like Seven Sisters, which is Black-owned, we make sure that we go to, I call it a fair trade wine farm. And a fair trade wine farm means that they actually have some program where they're giving back to the farm workers, like through education, through a portion of their land. There's some wine farms even that like give them, like, I know Hamilton Russell, they were on Ames show, and they actually have a brand that they have this Black woman make. And so I'm super proud of like wine farms like that who really take the initiative to give back to the community.
Yeah.
So this is super exciting for me. I'm super excited to hear
just
all
on that, Isla's doll is actually the Black-owned component of Hamilton Russell. And we've just assisted Barine Sauls, the owner, she bought a little piece of property. And this week we drilled water for her. So she's got a borehole installed this week, and so next year we can look at plantings of vineyards for her. So
That
that's
is
the
so
type of work we do.
exciting.
It's very exciting.
I need to know her. I need to like, I know it's COVID and everything, but I need to go and give her a hug. And I need to know who she is. I need to be in
I'm
her space.
inviting you to go with me to Tuanni. I'm going in the next month, so you can go with me. We'll go on a girls trip.
Yes, I can't wait.
Okay,
All right, so
I want to go.
Okay, you in as well.
Let's do a combo
so
Safari Sips Tuanni thing.
Yes,
so
yes.
Ain is calling in from France, but Ain, when you get back, when the borders open up, as soon as the borders open up, just come to Cape Town, and then we'll go on this road
Did you see
trip.
the bad
Yeah.
news? Did you see how
No.
2021? 2020.
Ooh,
2021.
2021. All right, I'm glad I'm
South
stuck here.
Africa is not letting foreigners in before that.
No,
I know we have to make a plan. So I have a
Smuggle me out.
So, Wendy, how does one, let's say I'm a young Black winemaker or woman winemaker, and I want to start my own brand, and I literally don't have anything. I just know that I want my own brand. Would that person come to you at ITU? I know I'm saying it wrong. Wine Transformation Unit, WTI.
TU. You can just call us the TU.
The TU, would they come to the TU? Like, I don't have anything. Like, I just have a vision of having my own brand. Is that, or should they have something more before they come to you?
No, I get various types of calls. I get a call. I'm thinking of. I'm here. So I normally arrange a 1 hour consulting interview or a discussion, a coffee meeting, I call it, and we'll just have a frank discussion. And sometimes, I always say with people coming to my office, the wine value chain is so wide. And sometimes I just get the sense that people think that in doing a brand or a label, that's the key. I've had a few people coming to my office, and then I think that you're specialized or you're expert on distribution. We need distributors. We need
Yes.
people in the viticultural industry. And there was one person that came to me last year, and I had 2 discussions with him, and he's starting his own events business now, specifically for Black winemakers, if they want to host events, because that's his speciality. But sometimes people think it's very easy. So what I will do is I will have a consultation with you and find out where your passion is. What is your passion? And then from there, work with you. If you want to brand, then I will run you through the process, what you need to have in place. Then we'll create a development plan for you. And from the development plan, we'll highlight what are the important steps that you need to go through, and also where the information is within the industry. So we'll bring the information and knowledge to what you want to achieve, and we basically bring that together. And then we will start a mentoring program for you. And I must say, last year, we mentored about 25 small businesses coming in, and they're all now at the level where most of the mentorship models are in place. So now this year, they can apply for funding.
Nice. I love that. And you know what? You brought up such a good point, because this is my pet peeve, and anybody who knows me and they have a conversation with me about wine is everybody wants to own a wine brand because they think it's so glamorous, right? And it's really not glamorous, because you really have to hustle and sell that wine. You're going to be your own distributor, your own marketing person. So I would love to see more young people, more young Black people, more young women going into the marketing side of it, going into the distribution side of it. So with that said, if somebody came to you and they said, hey, listen, well, I already own one truck, and I want to start my own wine distribution company. Can you help me? Can I be a part of the TU? Is that something too that they can come to with you?
Definitely, Tuanni. We need marketers, we need distributors, we need consultants, we need communications people, we need people in the value chain, production. So the entire value chain is open for you. What I'm also trying to do in the next year, I've got a limit on this project of the next year, where I want to do a database compiling of service providers. We call it level 1 or 2, but basically it's Black-owned service providers that I can share with the wider industry. Because next year, this time, there won't be a discussion about there's no people of color in the space of distribution. There's no people of color in the space of marketing, because there is. We must just find them. and we must get them together for them to also be organized into a bigger structure and a network where their services can be benefited from.
I love that idea. That's so, I'm so excited to have this conversation with you because I'm all about like transformation and change and like, it's okay to kind of complain about what's going on and the lack of access, right? Because I mean, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. There is a lack of access and a lack of opportunity, right? But I feel like it's important for us to create ways so that we can have that access and that opportunity, So I'm so happy to hear that that's what you guys are doing. Um, can you talk a little bit about the shows and the events? Because I know, who was I talking to? I think I was talking to Elizabeth Petersen. What's her name? From Libby Wine. Libby,
Yeah.
and she was saying Libby wines, and so she was saying how before this whole COVID thing happened, she was so excited to be going to Europe to talk to them about her wines, and the European market is super receptive of these brands that are made by women and by Black people. And so, can you talk about the shows and how important the shows and the events are?
Yeah, no, it is very important. Us normally say when you sell wine, you're not selling wine, you're selling a culture, you're selling a story, you're selling part of diversity and authenticity of South Africa. So how you exhibit, you need to portray that in each element, how you exhibit. So we've been going to shows and events a lot actually last year, and I'm so grateful for that. So it gives a platform for these businesses to showcase their product, to showcase their value proposition, to showcase and tell their stories. Because when you've got that personal interaction with a buyer in front of you, or even the CEO of a company, and you feel the passion that that person has for their business and their brand, you're more likely to buy from them than seeing another person behind the stand. So we do take them, and then what we try to do is that we also try to create a media blurb when we go to ensure that people do know the story of transformation, but the story in a light of empowerment and the history, but putting the history into a space where we want to transform and we want to move on and we want to improve our companies in order to create generational wealth. That's at the end of the day what we want to do. We want to create a future for our children by these businesses that we set up. So having the shows and events and exhibitions and that personal interaction just brings the story to the person that's buying from you.
Nice. Can you talk a little bit about, so those are international shows, right? And I know that the international shows are big for the members of TU. But now with everything COVID changing, and Anne just said that she saw on the news that South Africa won't open up their borders until 2021, which means that the tourist market or just the international community probably won't get back to normal until like late 2021 or 2022. So what plans have you guys thought about it, or what plans do you guys have for domestic tourists or domestic wine drinkers?
Very, very exciting times for us. I say with COVID-19, there's been, it hit us hard. It hit South Africa hard. But the silver lining is that the opportunities that comes from this and the opportunities that we've been talking in boardrooms for years has just been speed up to a rapid speed. So we need to do this now. In order for us to be economically stable, we need to create stability in our own country, and we need to talk to the consumers in our own country. So the TU has dedicated that we want a brand home for our Black-owned brands. We want a home where all the Black-owned brands can be hosted in one venue. That is still obviously in discussion, but if that happens, it will turn the agenda of transformation in our country. Consumers from Gauteng, from all other provinces, when you come to the Western Cape, you will have a place of going to. It will give the brands a place of belonging, acceptance, because we will be able to live our culture. We will be able to live our authenticity. And you will be able to
tell your story in that space.
Exactly. You will be able to taste our wines, drink our food, listen to our music, and you will create the real spirit of South Africa. Because when we go to these events and shows, it's all portrayed from the through the white eyes of the wine industry. And we're more than that. We are so diverse. Our culture, and we have to embrace that. So we've got big plans planned, and at least with COVID-19, the funds that was allocated towards shows and events and all of that can be reallocated. And I feel when we reallocate those funds, it will be towards initiatives that will make a progressive impact, a real progressive impact.
I think that that's such a good idea too, and then it also could be a distribution hub, right? A distribution and a storage hub for these Black brands, and just having them in like one camp would be amazing. So I'm super excited about that. And then it's like prepping for when the tourist season opens, right? So you already have this camp where you're distributing to like local people. And that's my thing about the South African wine industry right now. I'm just like, I feel like it's been focused so much on like the tourists that have coming in, but there's so many South Africans who should enjoy South African wine and who should be reintroduced to it as like, this is what you should be drinking. This is the shit, this is the bomb. Sorry, excuse my language.
No, Tuanni, and I say that the model that I'm trying to implement, the model of transformation, is actually a development model. So at the end of the day, when we're all happy with transformation, for a new brand entering, no matter of what color you are, the model will be able to provide a service to you that you as a new entrant don't have the funds to pay for. So the model and the business scope is much bigger than just, Black entrepreneurs. The model can be actually implemented in the long term for any new entrant into the wine industry.
I love it. All right, so I can take all day and ask so many questions, I promise you. I just need you to come sit on my couch, have some wine, and we can just talk about this all day. But I won't monopolize. We do have some questions from some of the people who joined the call. Aim put a question in the chat, but I'm gonna unmute you, Aim, and then you can just ask the question yourself.
Okay, yeah, Wendy, this is great. I want to know, can I get any of these 67 brands in France? How?
Yeah. Of the 67 brands, just to give you an idea, and we've taken 14 brands were supposed to go to ProWein Germany this year.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So most of the 67 is not fully in the value chain in various of the European countries. What I would do is that pop me a mail, and then I can get you in contact with the brands that is in France, and also who the distributor or importer is, so we can connect you directly.
Excellent.
Just last week, I had a friend of mine from the Netherlands, and she said, "But where can I find some of the brands?" And within an hour, we connected her with the importer, and she could get a stock.
Oh, excellent!
So
thank you. Yay! We'll have to have some of them on Safari Sips Happy Hour. If we can get
yes, you do.
Maybe hook me up with the winemakers, and because I would love to offer, because as of now, all my guests have been white, and that's just not that is not reflecting the diversity. I mean, those just happen to be the winemakers that I met, but that it doesn't reflect your diversity. You're completely right. So,
but that's why these conversations. But that's why these conversations, I feel like, are so important, right? Because you don't know until you know. So it's like you have to get the word out, and nobody's blaming you. There's no shame in like, those are your guests, But now that you know, in the next few weeks, hopefully we'll have somebody from a Black or woman or
women, Black, and now it's making me think that like I actually don't know, and I sincerely doubt that there's like a Black winemaker in France.
Yes, there is.
There is, but who knows about it?
Yeah, there is one, and it's listed on my website. I will email you the contact information for that person.
Because that's wild. That's great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, and there are like lots of. I know that there are more and more women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's
great. Go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry.
Now I just have to say, 67 of the 67, more than 70% are women businesses, which is excellent. Which tells you that there's definitely a trend towards women wanting to come into this industry more, than the males. But on the flip side, when it comes to service providers, it's mostly males. So I think that we need to create a platform, where these definitely women and also youth. I'm so proud of Siwela. She's one of the I call it the youth coming into the industry, and she's just turned this industry around. So I feel like a mother hen. I'm so proud of all of this.
I know. I'm like, she's like my little sister, and I'm just super proud of her. Before we get to Siwela, because we will, I just have one question from Ayabulela. Ayabulela. Ayabulela, can I unmute you, or can you unmute yourself and you can ask your question?
I just wanted to say, like, it's so great to hear all these things that are being done, because as Black wine drinkers, we always want to see more Black faces from the wines that we drink, and also in the festivals that we attend and the meetings that are being held, we want to see more representation and all those kind of things. And it was also really good yesterday when it was International Sommelier Day, to also see some pages posting some Black people, and we're like, oh my gosh, there's actually so many Black people in the wine industry. And I was like, but like, now as me, as someone who isn't really in the wine industry but is a wine drinker, how do I get involved in this transformation that's happening? How do I become part of the pioneering? How do I become part of the change? What can I do as a wine drinker to be a part of that, or I don't know, support whatever needs to happen? But what are avenues that are available for us drinkers? And
Wendy, do you want to answer that question?
That is an excellent question. That is an excellent question. I normally say that, don't underestimate your power of influence.
Yes.
What I mean by that, when you host an event at your home, make sure that you've got a Black-owned brand on the table and make it a point of discussion. Learn about that brand, learn about the history of the brand, and let the knowledge be transferred to the people around you at that table that evening. When you go to an event, take your own product with, if it's allowed, and make sure that the product is on the table when then is presented. The other thing that I also do, and I do it more regularly because I know the retailers, we're struggling to get into retail. So whenever I go and buy a bottle, I make sure that the manager of that retail shop writes down that I'm looking for Carmen Stephen wines or Siwela wines. I can't find it. They have to make a note in their notebook that a customer inquired about this Black brand that you're not listing. Make sure that you use your power of influence in order to people to listen or to hear you. The other thing that I also do is that social media, it's all open. The world is our oyster now. Make sure that you empower and that you create a platform where people will learn about these brands, learn about these stories. And I think that's a small bit that any consumer can do. The consumer in South Africa still has the power.
Yes, and I mean, I love that question, and we love people like you who say, I don't work in the wine industry, but I love to drink wine. You are our biggest ally. You're what we depend on. So like Wendy said, when you go to places, say, hey, listen, do you have these brands? I just posted a link on the chat, but that's a list of Black-owned wine brands around the world. Some of them are in South Africa. I can send you a detailed list where I have it broken down by country, but that's the entire list of Black-owned wine. Well, it's not the entire list, but it's most of the Black-owned wine brands in the world. And yeah, and then post pictures, tag us, tag Black-owned brands. Use your social media power. That's the best that you can do. And what city are you calling from, Ayabella, Balela? If you're calling from,
I'm calling from Cape Town, so.
Oh, perfect. So if you're calling from Cape Town, there's a wine shop, Open Wine Bar. And Open Wine Bar, I know for a fact that they have some Black-owned wine brands, and they have one in Old Biscuit Mill, and then they have one on Bree Street or Wells Street. But they definitely have Black-owned brands, and you can always go in there, buy one of the Black-owned brands. Kumosha is in there, Mosi Wines is in there. But say, hey, do you have Siwela? Have you heard of Siwela? Get Siwela on the shelf, or Libby, or Seven Sisters. So when you do find a shop that seems like they're friendly, let's just kind of, say, hey, listen, can you get more? Let's just keep it. Okay, and then let's see. Michelle, did you have a question before we move on to introducing Siwela and Rosemary?
No, my only question was about where I could find the wines in the U.S. So I put my email in there.
Yeah, and I'm actually working with a couple distributors in the US, importers and distributors, to get these brands to the US. So eventually
Great.
my goal would be to have my Wine Over LA event that I do in LA to be like
Yep.
Wine Over the World or Wine Over Africa,
Yeah.
where I include these brands, and then we do the same thing in South Africa. So you can check with the Wine Noir. She imports Seven Sisters, I know for a fact. So she
Oh,
has
great.
their stuff and she can ship it to you. And then Larry Boone, I don't know, I think it's Boone Imports or something like that. But Larry Boone, if you find him on Facebook, he imports Kumusha, and I think he's working on Mosey wines. But
Great.
yeah, reach out to me and I can give you some names of people who are already bringing these Black-owned brands into the US, which I'm super excited about.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So Siwela, let's talk to Siwela. Hi, Siwela.
Hi, Tuanni. Hi, everybody.
So just to remind you guys again, Siwela is under 30. She owns her own wine brand. It's called Siwela Wines. And when I met Siwela, she had one varietal. She had this really delicious, yummy red wine blend. But now she has maybe like five, like 3 MCCs, and then a red and a white.
Yeah,
How
I
many?
have now 8, and I'm introducing the 9th one this year later. It will be released later this year.
Nice. So can you tell us a little bit about your brand and about what you're doing to transform the wine industry?
All right, where do I start? Excuse my hair, guys, it's a mess. Also, I must say that, this is the time I've never really, my brand has been on the market this is the 2nd year, and I've never seen so much traffic into, the brand. Not like into the brand, but I've never received so many orders before COVID-19. So it's definitely the most busiest time right now. But my brand is all about, well, when I started the brand, the initial idea was just to, bring in that education in wine. So I had to do it, but then it was through the brand that I wanted to do it. And also, I've been in the industry before I started my brand for, I think it's 7 years or so. I can't really remember. And how I got into the industry was basically, I'm a biotechnologist by profession as well. So
You
that's
have to
how
say that slower, please. Just say that slower.
biotechnologist.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yes. So during my 2nd year of study, I started majoring in fermentation and microbiology. So you would understand that those are the basics of winemaking. So that's the science behind winemaking. And I come from Limpopo, so I've never really been exposed to the wine industry. I did not even know about the wine industry. A bottle of wine to me was just something I saw in the shops. I never even drank wine before, and it just ended there. I never really imagined what goes behind, a bottle of wine. And so it was then when I found myself to be so interested in wine, so interested in the wine industry. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe one day I could actually be, amongst the very first few people from where I come from to venture into this industry. But my idea back then was that I wanted to own a winery, right? But because I did not know the amount of money that actually is required for you to even buy a stainless tank. So, but it was just a thought. And I wanted this to be established in Limpopo. So it's still one of the things, well, it's still not the major, but it's still a long-term goal that I'm working on. And yeah, it's my future focus. So with my brand, I hope to get there one day, somehow. So yeah, so basically, where was I? I forgot. But anyways, yeah, to cut the story short, throughout the years, I've learned all I could, but you never really can learn so much. And eventually I decided that, I think this is what I want to do. At the time I was working for Distel, and I thought to myself, I want to make an impact. I want to create a name for myself. It's more different when you're working for an organization, when you have the passion for something, I thought, when I have this much passion for wine, I need to make it for myself. I can't go all out to just make Distel bigger and bigger, to be part of they are bigger and biggerish, you know. So I thought I wanted to do something of my own, create a name for myself. And, you know, possibly, you know, I mean, you know, as Black-owned brands, we don't really have much. We are there, but people don't know about us as well. So, which is one of the things that I've discovered when I started, that, you know, there are Black-owned brands out there, but people don't know about them. I had the knowledge, I had the skills, I had the experience, and I had the passion for it. And that is why I started my brand. And through the brand, as time went by, I realized that also at the same time, every day, obviously because I'm accessible, I get a whole lot of questions about the industry. Maybe I must just give them Wendy's number. So every day I get so many questions about wine, and therefore that's why I also registered an NPO, which is basically just going to be about education and wine. So I hope to, yeah, I'm planning, or I hope to basically get more younger people into the industry. And as Wendy has already, you know, explained, that most of us, or most of the young people, or even most of the Black people, would assume that having a brand is the only thing you can do within the wine industry. But I don't think it's because it's intentional. I just think that it's because that's all you know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You see a whole wine industry, and all you can ever think of is being a winemaker. You think you
Yeah.
can only be a winemaker. You know, you think you can only have a brand. People don't realize that there is so much you can do within the wine industry. And if anyone was to ask me, it's not easy. You know, like you said, Tuanni, you have to sell the wine, you have to market the wine, you have to distribute the wine. Like literally, you have to do everything. And for most of us, we don't have the budget for anything. When I started my brand, luckily I used some of my, not some of it, I used all my, what is this? What do you call it? All the money that you get from work. I
Oh,
used
you're
all of it. I don't want to lie. Cent
Mhm.
of it, I used it into the business. And I remember having this strange feeling, not a strange feeling, but it was more of fear, to say that, you know, I've started this business, and this is where it is. And I've used every cent that I had in my life. And you know, it takes a long time before any business can take off. It takes a long time before any business can really run as a profitable business. And you need to think about, you know, marketing expenses, all those expenses that I needed. And I thought to myself, what if I get to a point where I really cannot afford to run this business, and yet you have invested every cent and everything into this business? What will happen? So a lot of us, or a lot of young people, Black people in general, we just don't know about the opportunities. And maybe for some of us who are already in the industry, it's our job to talk about these opportunities, which is something I do also on our social media platform. I often go online and I just talk about anything else regarding the wine business or the wine industry. And I think I remember talking about the opportunities that come with being in the wine industry. And now I also, you know, through this wine academy thing that I have, I also talk to a lot of young Black people as well, who have no knowledge whatsoever with regards to what the wine business is really all about. And I talk to them and I teach them about wine as well. And it's really exciting because you see as well that you know, there are so many people as well that are eager for that knowledge, that want to know that, you know, should it happen, how can I enter into the wine industry? What are the opportunities that are there? And I think I would like to see my brand becoming that kind of a brand and making that kind of an impact, because I know, you know, with the information and, you know, the experience, the skills and everything else that I know, that little about the industry, I can really share it with other young people. I can share the knowledge. I can share, you know, as much as I can about the
Yeah.
industry. And I also believe that the more Black people are in the wine industry, or are in different spaces of the wine industry, the better we are as Black people. You know, we stand a better chance of our brands being enjoyed within, you know, the
And,
market. You know,
and
people.
sustainable. And
Yes,
sustainable. I mean,
exactly. So one of,
and that's what I really like about your business, Siwela, too, is because you've really taken a holistic approach to wine drinking. You focus on the lifestyle, so most of your posts look like it's a good time, it's a fabulous time. It's beautiful people doing beautiful things, right? So you focus on the
Oh,
lifestyle
thank
portion of
you.
it. And you also offer these wine classes where you're actually teaching people how to like enjoy wine and teaching people what wine actually is, right? Because I think what
Yes.
I learned from my experience in South Africa is that there's a stigma and there's some things that are not necessarily true about wine, right? And so it's
Mhm.
changing people's perception on how to approach wine, and you're doing that, which
Mm,
is amazing. So I love this holistic approach. And then as far as your distribution, you're out there in the streets and you're knocking on doors, and you even moved to Joburg so that you can be closer to a distribution center and get those wines to
yes.
the people who are really requesting it. So
Yeah.
great job. Does anybody have any questions for Siwela before we move on to Rosemary? Any questions for Siwela right now?
I have a
All right.
question.
Okay, go ahead. Let me just change this view for a second. There you go, Monica. Go ahead.
Yes. I just wanted to know can she tell us what her 8 varietals are? I mean, her 8 blends, and then the 9 that's coming up, the 9th one.
Okay. Hi, Monica. How are you?
Very well. I can't wait to get some of your wine this week or next week.
I can't wait either. So I have well, my wines are really more of an entry level kind of wines, the wines that you would want to or a consumer can enjoy on a daily basis. So they are the kind of wines that you would want to drink every day. And I have the best selling, which is the dry red blend, obviously, because it's that kind of an easily accessible, easily enjoyable wine. So it is a blend. And also, I have the same blend in a sweet style, because I know in South Africa we have a lot of, more people enjoying more sweeter wines than drier wines. And I also have a Pinot Touch Rosé, and I have a Gewürztraminer, which is made in a natural sweet style. And I have a sparkling Sauvignon, and I have a sparkling Rosé, and I have an MCC Rosé, and I also have an MCC Chardonnay, and coming up is a Chenin Blanc in a dry style.
Nice. Very good. I love them all. Not yet. I don't think that she has a distributor in France yet, but if you know of
Yeah.
any distributors, maybe you can connect them to Siwela and we can get her wines to France. Um, any more questions?
Definitely.
Where's Rosemary? Let me see. Is Rosemary back on the line? I know she was having. There you go. Hey, Rosemary. Do you have video today or is no video? There you
Hi,
go.
hi, Tuanni. Good
Hi.
afternoon,
Thanks
everyone.
Thanks for joining us. So Rosemary is a winemaker and she's owner of the brand Bridge of Hope Wines. And I actually, earlier this year, I actually went with her to the wine farm where she makes her wines. And we had a harvest day. We stomped grapes. We had a really good time. We talked to the guy who's the lead winemaker there, and it was pretty awesome. So Rosemary, can you tell people about your brand and about how you're transforming the wine industry?
Tuan, is it possible if we can? I'm unable to do a video.
Mhm.
Is there any way that you can assist from your side? The video.
Oh, your video, it could be, let's see. No, I just asked to start your video. It's
The host has asked you to.
something in
Um.
your settings.
Sorry, what did you say, Tuan?
Wait,
Tuan?
it's something in your settings. So like you would have to go to your settings and then
Oh,
hit
there.
click
There.
your
I
video.
found it. I found
There
it.
you go.
Right.
There you go. Uh-oh.
Uh,
We saw you for a second.
yes. So good. Is it? What time is it in US now? It's morning. Morning. Huh?
Yeah,
Good
but most of the
morning.
people are calling in from South Africa. We have one person
Oh,
calling
okay.
in from the US, and we
Okay.
have one person calling in from France.
Okay. So good day, everyone. My name is Rosemary Mosia. I'm the founding owner of the company called the Bridge of Hope Wines. Tuanni, can you just repeat your questions because I Should
Yeah,
I just talk?
you can just tell us how you tell us about your wine brand, and then tell us how you're transforming the wine industry as a woman.
Yeah. So the name of the company and actually my brand is called the Bridge of Hope Wines, and our payoff line is "We will take you there." We started operating 2012, and but it wasn't easy. It's still not easy now because there's a limited number of Black-owned female wine companies. But with perseverance, I mean, we've gone to where we are now. We started with zero, and I mean, I'm glad to say now that we're exporting to a number of African countries. We export to Belgium, some parts in Europe, and we're busy with other countries. I know with COVID, COVID has actually slowed us down now because when to work, I mean, we all know that the environment in South Africa is not good for small wine-owned companies. You struggle to get your wine listed in these shops, or the fees are so expensive that you struggle with the logistic offers that they offer you. So that's why we opted, our business, 70% of it is export. And it's doing very well. But I don't know now because obviously we've been I mean, we were stopped to export, and then after a while they opened. So so we managed to send the orders that were sent earlier before lockdown. So we don't know what will happen post lockdown or level 3. Because we know very well that most of importers, they don't want to just work with you without seeing you, hoping that they'll start accepting us with the Zoom. We've been calling them now, selling ourselves to them, but they still want to see us physically because they pay lots of money to be able to buy this wine. So, and yeah, so yeah, that's our bridge. We have a number of ranges. We've got 3 types of range. We've got a classic range, which is your entry level range. Then we've got the middle range, which is our premium range, and then we've got our ultra premium. In South Africa, our business is 30%. But now with all this change and with all what has been happening, Siwela did mention the orders that we've been getting. We've been getting so many orders. Probably that landscape will change now because we will probably reduce on the export. But with local markets now, it's only picking up now. But because we've positioned ourselves to be mainly premium brand. So we support. We only supply the boutique hotels. Your 5-star restaurants like your Test Kitchen, your Beltesar at the waterfront. So and the hotels, your Cape Race, your Radisson. So and that is a very, very small percentage because we know that restaurant owners, they're not in the business of hoarding wine. Instead, they just buy whenever they need. But we also have other companies, distributors that we work with in Johannesburg. We have Awali Wines that works with a number of us. Mainly, they actually distribute Black-owned brands. They distribute for most of us, but we also do our own market directly from here in Johannesburg. And because of the way that I started myself, I try as much as possible to mentor other kids who are interested in this business. There's the percentage of us involved in this, because this is I remember the last figure I was told, it's a 32 billion, it contributes 32 billion to our GDP. So honestly, there has to be an emphasis on growing the business, which should be skewed towards the Black people. And the only way to do that is to train young kids so that they get involved in this. And by us transferring the skill that we have, So that's why I'm actually excited when I see people like Siwela getting involved in this thing, because the more we see young kids coming into the business, the more, because they will experience different challenges that we have managed to solve. They'll get different challenges because we would have made the environment to be safer and softer for them. So what we do, as like I have a number of, I've got a WhatsApp group for the aspiring young kids who wants to be involved in wine, and I've registered an NGO which is called Bridgewell. In that, although now we're not active in that one, but in that the plan is that we want to teach young kids that please do come to the industry, but don't expect that you want to know about wine and drink it. You know, you have to know wine and be able to make money from it, and also not only making money but to understand it. And also we plan to teach especially pregnant mothers that you know, you can't drink alcohol when you're pregnant, and also
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
so like I'll come back, like Stellenbosch University, even here at WITU, they also have a program which is called wine management, which I happen to also to lecture there on a part-time basis.
So
And
do you lecture from the wine management course?
yes, I do. I lecture finance there, but it's on a permanent basis, sorry, on a temporary basis. So only when they have the course, then I do. But the other thing that they also invite me to do is they've got students. I don't know. Maybe they work with other universities. They are master students in wine. They always give me an opportunity, maybe like once or twice a month, to speak to their master students and to explain to them what is happening, the dynamics of South African wine industry, including the challenges and also the good things, because we shouldn't say that there are no good things, so many good things within the wine industry. It's, you know, when I brag to professionals that, you know, if you are sitting with your friends, you tell your friends that you are a lawyer, people, they look at you. But if I tell people that I'm in wine, everybody smiles. They give me smiles and they, you know, they start, everybody gets excited. They start asking you so many questions. And that makes the whole thing to be exciting. And also remember that wine industry, it's not seasonal. You get a new boyfriend, it's wine. They dump you, it's wine. You've got a baby, it's wine. There's a funeral, it's wine. So it's not seasonal. So it's not seasonal.
It's a whole lifestyle.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that you're taking this holistic approach as well and educating people about like even the social like standards of like drinking and driving and drinking when pregnant and drinking, you know, things like that, drinking responsibly. So that's pretty awesome. I just wanted to ask a question for the panel, for you, Wendy, and to Siwela. It's the same question. If you had to give advice to somebody going into the wine industry, and you had to tell them to focus on three things, what would you say they should focus on if they want to enter this industry as a professional?
Maybe I can start first. I think
Okay.
the first three, I'll probably concentrate more on management. I think the first thing that is very, very important is financial management. When you get into this industry, whatever amount that you start with, you should be able to understand the actual cost of selling your wine, and then also to understand also that when you sell your wine, you estimate your profit. Obviously, you do the calculation. I think that is number one. That is financial management. Then the second thing is this follow up. You know, we knock on so many doors, and when we knock, we always get told no. If you keep on following up, you become persistent. They ultimately buy from you. They sometimes they buy for you because they feel sorry for you, but in your own mind, you know very well that you're growing your business. And the third thing, to be strategic at all times, strategic and also operate at the highest professional level. Because if you don't operate at the highest professional level, nobody will actually will take you serious. So I think those are my main three. I think I didn't focus much on the actual operation in wine, but these are the basic things which are actually applicable to any type of business.
I like that. I like that a lot. Wendy, do you want to tell
Yeah,
us your three things?
I think this is for all entrepreneurs in the wine industry, but I think it's holistic that get yourself a good mentor. Get yourself a mentor that can be honest with you, that can give you the right advice, that's got no financial gain in you succeeding, but a person that can provide a soundboard and advice. Then the second thing I would say is that there's currently such a lot of information in the industry that's been paid by the industry. So get the knowledge and get the information from the various institutions that has this information so that you can make an informed decision. That you can see where the challenges are, that you can when you make the decision to come into the wine industry, that you come in it, but you know what's waiting for you. So in order to make an informed decision. And then lastly, I would say, make sure that wine is your passion, because this will be what you breathe, eat, sleep, everything. It will make up your entire life. And if it's not your passion, if this industry is not your passion, you're going to have a tough time. So make sure, 100% sure, that you've got a passion for what you want to do, and that you will run for years, maybe not show profit, but that you run on it with the sense of this is what you want to do.
Nice. Siwela? Siwela, did she leave us or is she still there? Where is she?
Oh, I'm
Hey?
here.
Okay. There you go, Siwela. I had to unmute you, I think. So can
I'm
you tell
saying,
us three things?
Tuanni, please
Oh,
type it for me because I think my network is bad.
oh, okay. Um,
Is she there, Siwela?
okay, there you go. I typed it to everyone. Three words of advice that you would give to people entering the wine industry.
Okay. What I would advise anyone, well, not anyone entering the wine industry or interested in entering the wine industry, like Wendy said, I would emphasize going to enjoy it. That's how you are going to remain, innovative, and that's how you're going to make a success out of it. And also to know that, like any other business, like any other, speaking of in the business sense now, it's not all about the profit. So it takes us back to passion. So you have to have the passion for it. And because, like they always say, when you're not making money, there's gotta be something that is going to, well, keep pushing you. So, and that's going to be the passion. So I would say number one is passion. Number two, I would say that research is very important. Research is very, very important for anyone, whether you're trying to build a career in wine, or whether you're trying to start a business in wine. Research is very important, and you need to be able to, spend a little bit more time investing in the skills that you have, or investing in your skills, investing in yourself as a person who is entering into the wine industry. So I would say that it's a lot of time. We need to make sure that we upskill ourselves all the time. So you just need to make sure that you educate yourself about anything else. that will, contribute to the success of you building a career in the wine industry. And I don't think you can ever stop learning. So those would be my 3 points.
Great. I love it. All right. So does
Can I add something? I know you said 3. Can I just add something?
Yeah, of course.
You know what is also very important in any industry, not only wine. If you want to be involved in that particular sector, it's very important to do the research on regulatory matters. There's so many compliance issues that are very, very important. Like when you want to get involved, and also the organizational bodies that are involved within that sector, like WOSA, like all these other, like TU, all these other bodies, you need to know and understand them. What is it that they're offering, and also get to know what is their objective. Then on regulatory matters, you ensure that like the CIPC you register, you must understand that you must do your annual returns, you must do your tax, all those things. And those are regulatory matters which will make it easy for you to move to the next level with your business. Thank you, Tuan.
Thank you, Rosemary. Appreciate it. So, do you guys have any other points to add or any questions before we finish up the call?
We want more young kids to come into the business.
Yes, more millennials to drink wine and to enter it as a business. All right, well, if you guys don't have any more questions or if you guys don't have any more feedback, we can end the call. I just want to say thank you so much to Rosemary for coming and joining us and sharing your knowledge. Siwela, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your spirit. And then Wendy, that was so much good information about the Wine Transformation Unit. I'm super excited for the work that you guys are doing. And can you just do me one last favor? Can you put the email address for the TU in the comments? And then also, Siwela, can you put your website, and Rosemary, your website or your contact information in the chat? That way, if people want to get in contact with you after the call, they'll know how to either email you or go to your website.
We'll do that. I don't know
Yes.
how to do that. How to do that.
I can do it. If you just tell me what it is, I'll just type it. So
okay, it's www. The Bridge of Hope Wines with an S at the end. .co.za.
You said with the S, the Bridge of Hope Wines.co.
Yeah, it's actually under construction now, but I think next week it should be on.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
And I put the link in my website to the Black-owned wineries around the world, so you guys can click on that. And if you have any more questions, shoot me an email, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, and yes, just make sure you do your part to support these brands that are made by people of color. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Have a great week. Great weekend. See you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, Tuanni.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.